This mansion is the best preserved prince mansion of Qing dynasty, formerly the house of Qing minister He Sheng and Emperor Jiaqing's brother Yonglin. The third host of it is the famous Prince Gong in late Qing dynasty. Therefore, Prince Gong's mansion remains till now. Prince Gong's mansion is full of half history of Qing dynasty. Because of the principle of Qing dynasty that after the princes were given mansion, they are not allowed to leave Beijing. So many princes gathered in Beijing, forming a relatively close and fixed noble status. Therefore, the prince mansion culture is formed. In the midway of Prince Gong's mansion, except the front inn and palace, which has been developed to the basic exhibition of prince mansion culture of Qing dynasty, there is a building of He Sheng period, Jiale Hao. In the Prince Gong period, Jiale Hao is the place for sacrificial ceremony, where there is gold cut of ancestors and immortals, mainly for shamanism ceremony. Baoguang Hao and Xijin Zhai is the main architecture on western road of Prince Gong's mansion. The Grand Xijin Zhai is the elaborated work. It is said that beautiful carved Nanmu separating sheet inside the hall is built imitating Ningshou Palace in Forbidden City. It is also one of 20 crimes of He Sheng because his luxury. It is well known that He Sheng is a famous corrupt official, striking a history of Qing dynasty, so there are numerous legends about him. Especially his son Feng Shen Yinde, who married with Emperor Qianlong's daughter Princess Gulun He Xiao, makes this mansion the actual princess mansion at that time. However, when He Sheng ruled the roost, the princes of Emperor Qianlong made a deal that no matter who becomes the emperor, he should punish He Sheng. Only the 17th Prince Yonglin said, "No matter who becomes the emperor, I will be content only if he gives me the grand mansion." On the third day of lunar January in 1799, old Lord Hongli passed away. Next day, Emperor Jiaqing dismissed He Sheng from the military minister and Nanga's commander-in-chief, searched his house and confiscated his property. On the 18th day of January, He Sheng was ordered to kill himself, whereas his mansion was given to Prince Yonglin, who loves grand mansion but not regime. Every road of Prince Gong's mansion displays quadrangle courtyards passed by central axis from south to north. The front yard of Eastern Road is named as Dorf Perlin, formerly the Prince Gong's meeting hall for domestic and foreign guests. That year, Prince Gong met negotiators of the Anglo-French Allied forces here. Thus, here becomes an important witness of modern Chinese diplomacy. Prince Gong's mansion is actually divided into two parts of mansion and garden. The mansion is in front and the garden is at back. The garden is also named as Cuijing Garden. Walking in it is as if walking literally among mountains and water. Echoing to the mansion, the garden is also divided into 3 rows of east, middle, and west, with many courtyards. The central axis and symmetrical method are all used in architecture. Xiyang Gate is the front gate of the garden, built in Prince Gong period. Among the classical architecture complex, Western landscape is of special temperament and interest. The horizontal tablet on the door is called with Jinghan Taigu. Passing through the Xiyang Gate and going forward, there is a 5 meters high Taihu stone carved with Dulefeng, It is not only a scenic spot, but also has the function of screen. Walking on the wall of 24 meters long, watching the pool, corridor, railing and platform between green trees, the scenery is quite beautiful. It is quite hilarious in the garden that the swimming fish is playing in the pool with blue waves. This Clock is a man-made mountain made of Taihu stones, designed exquisitely. There is a path reaching to the mountain peak, both on east and west. A well is in the wall of the end of the pass. In summer and autumn, when the well is full of water, there will be green moss on the wall. The yellow stone and green moss form a harmonious landscape. Architect with inventive mind piled up the man-made mountain in the yard of garden according to the terrain. The winding paths of the mountain make travelers not know the forward path, but they will stand highly on the mountain thoughtlessly. It is so nice that travelers can see the whole garden's beautiful view. Prince Gong's mansion has regular layout and grand momentum. Its unique artistic style is produced in the rich historical culture and territorial environment, interpreting the Chinese prince mansion culture and the imperial garden's splendor and gorgeousness. Open the Sikh history book, the nation's political center of Qing dynasty as the Forbidden City. Old Summer Palace records a humiliating national history of suffering. Entering into the Old Summer Palace, the humiliating history will be expressed before people. Formerly, the beast-head bronze statue is one part of fountains outside Haiyan Hall of Old Summer Palace, built in Emperor Qianlong period by the Society of Jaisers in China. The zodiac with beast head but human being's body symbolize 12 hours of a day. Each bronze statue sprays water in turn. In 1860, the Old Summer Palace was burnt down by Anglo-French Allied forces. Since then, the 12 zodiac bronze statues were lost overseas. After transferred for many times, somebody discovered their origins and finished their vagabondage, and they returned to the embrace of China. Now the beast-head bronze statues including cow, tiger, monkey, pig, horse and dog have been returned to China by some patriots, but snake, sheep and chick statues are still lost. Zodiac bronze statues lost overseas become a miniature of the lost Chinese cultural relics. Hundreds of years after the Opium Wars, there are more than 1 million of Chinese cultural relics lost overseas. The Old Summer Palace, built in Emperor Qianlong period, is composed of Yuanming Yuan, Changchun Yuan and Qichun Yuan, acres more than the whole area of Summer Palace. It is a large imperial garden built by feudal emperors in 150 years, named as Palace Garden by emperors of Qing dynasty. The Old Summer Palace is divided into hundreds of spaces by hills and winding water surface. Here, water runs the mountain, and mountain is more vivid as water. Thus an overlapping garden space is formed. The whole garden is fascinating as Jiangnan Water Village, made by man, but as if given by the god. The Old Summer Palace not only gathers many beautiful scenes of Jiangnan, but also creatively borrows ideas from Western garden architecture. On the north of Changshen Yuan lays a European architecture named the Western Building. Architecture expresses the Baroque style of late Renaissance, and gardening expresses the natural style. The main body of Western Building is actually the fountain, named Shui Fa at that time. Fountains here have magnificent momentum and special design. Three main fountain complexes of Zheqiqu, Haiyuan Tang, and Da Shui Fa are full of interest. The Western Building area, though a small part of Old Summer Palace, is a successful attempt to imitate European gardening. Its building had aroused a strong reaction in Europe. A European missionary who had seen it prayed like this: "It is a collection of beautiful, grand, and special scenery." Among them, the largest one can keep pace with the Fountain of Versailles and the St. Cloud Church. The Old Summer Palace is therefore becomes Chinese Versailles in people's heart. The famous Old Summer Palace was burnt down, not only by Anglo-France-led forces, but also corruption and weakness of Qing government. Its ruin not only witnesses Western invaders destroying culture, but also proves old cultural country being bullied. No matter now or the future, let tragedy of Old Summer Palace be the past. Dashilai is the oldest and most famous specific old street and gorgeous street area, formerly the symbol of Beijing's traditional business, owning many characteristic and famous styles. From 1980s, the development of this area is relatively lagging behind, but traditional city elements such as architecture, urban texture, old business, and folk cultures are preserved, becoming capital's historical memory by its specific landscape. The arranging of this street dates back to 1488. At that time, Beijing carried out the principle of xiaojin. In order to prevent thieves from hiding on the street, the government permitted that, setting up fences on the street crossings of Beijing. Dashilai was formerly called Langfang Sitiao because the fences are made excellently, so they are preserved for long, and Dashilai gradually becomes the name of this street. Prosperity of the past remains till now. Old styles meet their new spring. Oldness and modernism mixed together, making Dashilai full of town characteristics of old Beijing. The Zhengyang Gate, located in front of the Forbidden City, also called Front Gate, is one of 9 biggest gates in Beijing. It is a complete ancient defensive architecture, integrating city gate tower, arrow building, and urn building. On the road of Zhengyang Gate, inlaid the mark of the 0-meter point of Chinese Road, symbolizing the beginning of Chinese Road. The 4 immortals of Qinglong, Baihu, Zhuque, and Xuanwu separately symbolize east, west, south, and north. The wheel with radioactive rays as banners symbolizes the Chinese road knight with capital as its center. It is quite charming in the world.